Hello, good day everyone. Today, I, Pooja Gupta from Kriya Organization, will be holding a podcast which will aware you about work-life balance tips for students. We have on board with us Miss Archangel Quinterra from Indonesia as our speaker. She's a student of 3-year Communications and New Media from National University of Singapore. Her current and past work experiences hold being a corporate marketing intern at Samsung Electronics Singapore, being a talent intern at Sephora Asia. She's also been in talent management and development intern at AXS Singapore. Apart from that, she's been a part of Shuffle as an operations and marketing intern, apart from being a growth intern at Learning Loop. Her current and past co-curricular activities are also uh, are also diversified. She's been a co-founder at Innet Indonesia, a vice president of startup development at National University of Singapore Entrepreneurship Society. She's also the president of National University of Singapore Angkluk Ensemble. She's a student with number of responsibilities. We welcome you on board.
Hello, hi everyone. Just to introduce myself, I'm Archangel, and I think Pooja did an amazing job of introducing me, so I don't have to introduce myself. I guess if you want to hear it from me, I'm Archangel, a third-year Communications and New Media student at the National University of Singapore. I'm from Indonesia, so I moved over to Singapore for university, so that made it 2.5 years ago. Yep, and I think a little bit more about Ingat Indonesia, which Pooja mentioned earlier. So Ingat Indonesia is basically a nonprofit, an early stage nonprofit initiative that helps non-governmental organizations in Indonesia find their new volunteers. So for example, if you're an NGO in Indonesia and you need volunteers, then we can help source them for you. So that's a little bit more about it. And I think Ingat is one of the things that I'm the most proud of because it's something that I started on my own, as I'm the co-founder of Ingat Indonesia together with a friend named Viola. She's an amazing person. So yeah, and I can't wait to share with you guys more about my story. Pooja, over to you.
Okay, thanks a lot, Archangel, for telling us about the organization. We're really glad you're involved in such a great cause. And so today's podcast will be centered around the area that how should students manage their work life? What should be the basic balance tips that they should inculcate in their routine to hold on to a number of responsibilities as well as manage co-curricular along with the academic pressure that they face being a part of the universities? So, coming to the question part, first of all, I'd like to know, Archangel, what are the challenges of your work life and how do you basically manage this in the pandemic time?
I think the biggest challenge about the pandemic and work life is the fact that everything's from home. I think there's that one period of time where we all went to Zoom university, right? Zoom university, Zoom high school, Zoom school, and all that. So it's this sort of like everything is done in your room. You're stuck in your room, and the place where you go to school, the place where you rest, the place where you do your co-curricular activities, they're all in the same place. And I think that's one of the biggest challenges because before COVID, where we used to go to class, we know that when we're physically in the lecture theater, then that's school. And if we're in our room now, that's rest, right? And I think the lines are just blurred, especially when you're working remotely, also working from home. I think we're expected to always be available. So our working hours are 9 to 6, but sometimes we're expected to stay beyond that and be contactable. So I think that's the biggest challenge. And I think, okay, so I'm not gonna lie, I think in the beginning I also struggled a lot with that, especially when you don't have to travel. Sometimes it feels like you're doing nothing, you feel like you're not productive. So I kind of succumbed into that feeling of like, oh, I must be very busy. But I think now, sooner or later, one thing I realized is, and I think it's also a tip for you, is that realize that rest is important. And the way I do that is I kind of force rest. So like I look at my calendar and I block an hour or two for rest. So I know that this is when I'm going to have lunch and this is when I'm going to have dinner. And I think by having that, and then also like blocking time for your friends, and also just and I yeah, so I think the calendar app would be your best friend in times like this. And I think it's worth for you to try as well. Mm.
Okay, so we'll surely install the calendar app and block our schedules accordingly. Thanks a lot, Archangel, for telling us. Apart from the calendar app, what are the other sample ways to improve the academic work-life balance?
I think for me, the help I get most first is, and I think it's the most essential, is to manage your time properly. Um, so do take note of everything that you're going to do that day, be it you're working, then your travel time, then account for your lunch and dinner, account for the time that you're going to spend on Netflix binging your favorite K-drama and all that. So that's one. And I think another good way is to stay connected with your friends, is to also get that social support, because sometimes when you work, when you study, when you work, when you do a lot of things, you kind of forget that there are people around you, people who really care for you, people who really just those who want to make sure that you're doing okay. And I think being able to connect with those people, being able to just like catch up with them, even if it's only like texting them. And I'm not expecting you to like go out and have lunch a lot and like, meet your friends because it's COVID, but being able to just like drop some people text messages, I think it helps a lot. It makes you realize that, I think for me at least, it made me realize that, oh, life isn't all about what's on my laptop screen, like whatever work I have, whatever's on my sticky notes. I have these people and I know that they have my back, and it's really important at times like this, especially for international students where we can't go back, where going back to our home countries is possible, but it's not as readily accessible as it used to be. So I think connecting with people is also very important. Mm.
So yeah, the second tip here comes of having a social life along with the
Mm.
academic
Yeah.
and a work life. So yeah, second point to be noted is that you can connect with your friends and maybe show them small gestures of kindness, maybe through a text message or
Yep.
just a hi and hello. Okay. So yeah, continuing with our conversation, what is your opinion on maintaining a work and study life balance in post-COVID world?
Okay, so oh, post-COVID, so it's really, I guess it's really uncertain because like it's really uncertain how COVID will be like, right? So I think I'm going to comment on how it is now. And I think now, especially I think now it's kind of different, because in certain places we already have the freedom to like go out, like meet friends and go out, but just within safe distancing measures, like COVID safe measures. So I guess now, because like the opportunity is like that, it's really, really, really important to get back to catching up with people, to having to exercising more regularly, to just to I guess like just get back to normal, because in a sense like COVID isn't like, it's not bound to go away soon, but you can decide whether you want to, you want to given what's given to us, given that okay, we can only meet, let's say the regulation in our city is only like we can only meet up with another person, then be it meet up with that other person and exercise together. So I think it's very important, like maintaining a work-life balance is very important. It's I think also COVID is a good reminder that work isn't everything, work and study isn't everything. You have a lot of life, there is a lot more than that in life. And I think it's something that I want you guys to realize.
Okay, Archangel. One more thing that I wanted to ask was at times I feel students pressurize themselves or become a part of peer pressure, and they overburden themselves by opting for a number of responsibilities more than they can handle, or maybe indulging themselves in a number of co-curricular activities, and they just get burdened. So uh, how should they avoid being a part of a number of things, or maybe just maintaining the exact number of opportunities they should grab just to maintain themselves and grow as well as maintain the balance?
I think it's mostly, okay, so I was also guilty for like succumbing myself into working a little bit too much. I think to a point where I got sick and I had to be hospitalized and all that, and that wasn't a great experience. So until then did I realize, okay, there is more to life than your career, than work and all that. So I think the best way to I think I know this is like a lot easier said than done, and a lot of people have said it to you, and I'm going to be like I don't know, like the 100% to tell you this, but the first way to be at peace is to stop comparing yourself with others, is to realize that you have your own capacity and you're doing well in whatever you're doing. So long as you're doing well, so long as you're okay with it, there's no need to see other people and say, okay, I need to be the best person in the room, because you realize that once you walk out of that room, there's another room, and then you walk out again, and it's never going to end. So it's realizing that you are great in your own ways, because so long as you're doing what you like, so long as you settle with what you're doing, it is enough. So I think that is the most important thing to understand, because if you don't get that, then you're just going to, like do a lot of things just to make yourself busy, just to procrastinate thinking about what's important. Like you say you don't have a really great relationship with your family, so you say that, oh yeah, I'm busy, to not think about that. And yeah, so that's one, and I think that's the most important thing. And also is to realize that, I think this is also very important, especially during COVID, that we're all like on TikTok for like I don't know how long each day, but is to realize that whatever you see on social media is fake, because you can see a lot of people like posting, oh yeah, I'm working this job, I'm working that job, like I'll never stop working and all that, and like I'm rich, like those sort of people, and you realize that, oh shit, I'm not doing enough. But in reality, like they have their own struggles, they have their own, I guess, like those people, they also have their own privileges now. Let's say like, they can buy like, let's say they can buy a condo when they're 25, only until you realize that, oh, it's because your parents are rich, and your parents aren't as rich as those people. So it's realizing that you are good in your own ways, and social media is really, I sometimes think that we need like a time limit, like just a limit on how much time we can spend on social media and how much people can post, can like flex, because you really don't show. Because even for myself, um I I think it's easier for us to show that we're happy, we're doing well, we're flexing, than like, oh yeah, shit, I'm struggling. So I think it's to realize that too. Yep. I think it's the most important thing too.
Well, I think here you highlighted a very important part, a very important aspect of a student's life, that is the role of social media, and how fake it can be, and how illusion effect it can create on humans and just backfire. So, just any tips on that? Like, how should social media be used in a good way, like a boon instead of like a bane? Like, how should it not backfire the students? And like, I hope you got my question.
I think, okay, I got it. I think I wouldn't be that person to say like, oh, stop texting on Instagram, because like really you really can't control what Kylie Jenner is going to post, if you get what I mean. So ultimately it's most likely going to be you, because like Instagram, how Instagram has like the mute feature, like I don't want to see this person's post. It's there for a reason. So if you feel like this person, like watching this person's like post is dangerous for your mental health, then by all means like block that person or mute that person or everything. So I think it's mostly on controlling what you consume and what you think about it. And it's not only social media, I think it's also like stories, especially around students. There are stories that go around especially when you're studying, like in school or university, like, oh, there's this person who's in the dean's list, blah 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 blah, blah, got a really good job, blah blah blah, blah, and like that. And stories like that do spread like wildfire. Like it just goes around really quickly. And I think the most, yeah, and especially so with social media, like things like that just spread so fast. So I guess back to your question, it's really controlling what you consume and consuming what you consume with context, knowing that some people are more privileged than you, knowing that some people might have like a slight advantage or more than you.
Well, here I think acceptance of you being different from others should be there, should be inculcated, realized.
Mm.
And yeah, one more question that we have for you is that in the COVID times, all of us are locked in our rooms, and there's a lot of procrastination on being a student part. And as being a student, there's a lot of procrastination, and the lack of motivation doesn't empower us to take part, going out of the box, pushing ourselves beyond our limit and boundaries, and trying out things, maybe grabbing the opportunities available out there. So what should students do to maybe get in touch with their to self motivate themselves and indulge in a number of activities to grow, to develop in the COVID times? Where can they tap the opportunities and basically the will to tap opportunities?
I think also I think the most important part about like moving forward and trying different things is first to be confident with yourself, is to realize that you have the skills. And even if you don't, if you're willing to learn, like if you're already here, if you're already thinking about how am I going to grow, it's already enough. Because trust me, there are lots of people out there who don't even think how to grow. Trust me, I've dealt with people like that. So realizing that you want to grow, you want to be a better version of yourself, it's something that I think it's something that's great in and itself already. So that's one. And with that, you need to believe in yourself that, oh yeah, I have, even if I don't have, let's say, even if I don't have enough, like let's say if I don't have experiences or skills, at least you have the will to learn. And for me, that's how I got started. The reason I was involved, the reason I wanted to try a lot of different things was because I wanted to try those different things, and ended up just doing it, just trying. If Because like the worst part, like how could it be worse? Like the worst thing that could happen is you fail. And honestly, how bad could you fail, right? I think like, because when I was on my previous internship, one of my supervisors just told me like, just trust yourself and do, because like if you never try, then you never know. And like, even if I fail, so badly, the only thing that's going to happen is I'm going to get fired, so long as I do it within reason. The worst thing is I'm going to get fired, and I can try finding another job. So it's really not the end of the world. So yeah, my point is just trust yourself, and you're not going to mess up that bad. Like trust me, like really.
Yeah, thanks a lot. Thanks a lot for those motivating words. I think we helped our audience to get tips as to how they are supposed to manage their work life being a student. And yeah, I think we can wrap up here. Are there any parting words that you'd like to give our audience?
I think my last thing for you is really, really to realize, it's to how do I say it? It's to really trust yourself. And even if things don't seem to be going your way, even if you think like, oh shit, what in the world is happening to me, trust me that things would get better. And I think someone ever told me this, which I just want to be the person who tells you this if you don't have anyone else to tell you this. But if you feel like you're at the lowest point of your life, and that might be the case, if you're really at the lowest point of your life, like how bad could it be? The only way is up. And I truly believe that if you want to grow, you have a great future ahead of you, and you just have to let time passed and you realize that, oh yeah, those things happen to me for a reason. Because I'm a firm believer that everything that happens to you, it happens for a reason. And you won't get the reason tomorrow, you won't get it next week, you'll get it. But at some point, even after years, you'll go like, oh, okay, that's why. And now I get it. Yeah.
Well, thanks a lot. And I agree on the fact that, yeah.
Yep.
Okay. So yeah, even I agree on the fact that if it's meant to be, it will be. And everything will make sense at the end of the day, maybe. Yeah.
Yep.
So I think we can wrap up here. And thanks a lot, Archangel Quinterra, for being with us and imparting such valuable information to our audience. It was great having a conversation with you. Signing off, Pooja from Kriya Global.